You don't have to be a fucking politician to understand a dude that says that he's a girl doesn't magically become a girl. Like, this is not how it works.
I mean, I think I said what I said. I think it's kind of common sense. And I think I'll always believe in that. I think it's really important to protect children.
I don't know that I would say that I'm educated enough from a scientific standpoint. I don't ever believe that exclusion is an answer. I just don't.
One of the internet's biggest commentary streamers has now entered the hottest debate in women's basketball. Asmongold, who has 12 million Twitch followers and is known for reacting to everything with no filter and plenty of intensity, has been following the Sophie Cunningham trans debate just like countless Caitlyn Clark fans, gamers, and viewers who first discovered the WNBA through Clark and stayed for the non-stop drama. And what he sees now is Cunningham being heavily criticized simply for saying she believes young girls should be protected in sports.
Oh, you don't want us to play against biological women and dress out in a woman's locker room? I guess you must hate trans people. What do you want us to die? Jesus Christ. This emotional bullshit fucking based. It doesn't matter. Who cares?
Gabby Williams openly saying she would have no problem welcoming a biological male onto her team at any time.
I think it's trans rights right now is our new battle. That's what I think that I was saying, that like the battles have changed. Oh, yes. You know, like our intentions have been the same, but now the environment has changed. We see trans people's rights being, you know, stripped away from them. There's a lot of discourse around trans athletes and what they can compete in. I would welcome a trans athlete on my team or against my team anytime. I don't think it's a problem in the world. It's just another way to kind of attack trans people.
Brittney Griner recreating Cunningham's meme on the Gainbridge Fieldhouse sideline, while the WNBA's progressive faction tries to turn the league's most entertaining storyline into a political battle, has Asmongold going completely nuclear. His audience understands one principle better than anything else. You don't turn against the very people who are keeping you relevant.
Oh, earlier this week I made the announcement. I'm transgender. I'm a woman. I identify as sometimes identifying as a woman for purposes of basketball, professional basketball. So I'll be declaring for the WNBA draft in 2027 as well. Well, I mean, I think I'd be unstoppable.
And right now, the WNBA's progressive faction seems to be turning against everyone around them. Let's break it down. On July 21st, Sophie Cunningham spoke with ESPN for a profile and addressed the backlash she had received, saying, "I got a lot of negative feedback about me hating trans," while making it clear that she never said that. She explained that she wants to lead with love but also believes in being honest, adding that she wants to protect young girls in locker rooms and sports from having to compete against biological males. That was her statement.
I think I said what I said. I think it's kind of common sense. And I think I'll always believe in that. I think it's really important to protect children. And that's little girls who are also involved in that category. And so I stand on what I said, and I always believe that.
Yeah. Do you see your advocacy on that, like, taking any form going forward?
You know, I don't know. I'm not a very political person, but I do have beliefs. I have morals, and I'll always stand on those and be true to who I am. And I think people are going to take it how they want to take it, but I've never even really said anything about that. And so when it comes just to protecting young girls in sport and women in sport, I feel very strongly about that. I think that's why you have Title IX. That's why you have some of the greats in women's sports. If Title IX and women's sports weren't protected, then you wouldn't hear about any type of women in sport. And so I think in the future it's just really important to.
That is the complete, unedited quote. Cunningham said she believes in showing love, wants to protect young girls, and does not think biological men should compete against biological women. Yet certain parts of the WNBA and its media circle responded by comparing her to the Heritage Foundation, labeling her a right-wing grifter, and even organizing protests outside Indiana Fever games.
Sparks head coach Stephanie White, well, she didn't want biological men kicked out of women's sports, and she made that pretty clear.
I don't know that I would say that I'm educated enough from a scientific standpoint. I don't ever believe that exclusion is an answer. I just don't. I do think, when we think about various levels of sport, various governing bodies of sport and things that go into that, like I said, I'm not educated enough at the different levels. I know growing up, I played with the boys all the time.
Anti-trans protesters gathered both inside and outside the arena, while two teenage courtside fans held signs reading, "Thank you, Sophie, for speaking up for girls." Their courtside seats reportedly cost $1,300 each and were covered by a generous donor.
Signs that said like, we love Sophie, like thank you Sophie for speaking up. And so we were holding on, just watching the game. Again, like we were being super great. We hadn't said anything to anyone else. We were being super respectful. We were just holding our signs and cheering for both teams. And this lady, older lady, comes up to us, and she comes up to us, and at first I think she's gonna be nice, and then she asks like, what are you guys doing? Something like that. And then it was like, Jesus loves everyone. That's what she told us. And I was like, oh, I know. Like, I'm really just like, I know. Like, I know. Nice. Yeah. And she's like, oh, I hope Jesus can forgive you for what sin you've done. And like something like that. And then she told us that we were effing insane. And, that we
and she's like, and she went like, insane.
Yeah.
She's like, you better stop this.
And stop pulling this. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Cunningham made it clear that she wants to focus on basketball. There's so much good happening in the WNBA right now, she said, arguing that the league is playing basketball at the highest level it ever has. And the numbers back her up. Indiana has won 5 of its last 6 games and leads the WNBA in scoring at 96.5 points per game and offensive rating at 115.6. The Fever have also reached 100 points or more in a league record 6 consecutive games, while Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark rank 2nd and 3rd in the league in scoring.
Which are what? The science behind this, that men and women are different. And you can call yourself a woman, you can call yourself a cat, call yourself whatever you want, but the facts are what? Trans women are men. And the W in WNBA stands for women.
I have 2 little girls who play sports, who play soccer. They're young, and I see how much hard work they put into their sport. And only to have a boy or a man who they're biologically built different to come in and just play better and take your spot. Look, if you want to play in a trans league, go ahead, but not in girls sports. Don't try to erase women and girls.
While WNBA media coverage remains fixated on the trans debate, the Indiana Fever are busy setting offensive records, and Cunningham is taking heat for saying she wants to protect girls. Then, on August 7th, Gabby Williams stepped up to the microphone and made a statement that left Asha Jones' entire audience stunned. I think trans rights right now is our new battle, Williams told reporters. I would welcome a trans athlete on my team or against my team anytime. I don't think it's a problem in the world. It's just another way to attack trans people.
I'm officially declaring myself a WNBA prospect. If simply declaring who you are is all that's required, then I meet every single requirement necessary to compete in the WNBA. My team and I have carefully examined the WNBA's eligibility criteria and governing framework surrounding self-identification and inclusion. Based on the current guidelines, I can and am officially declaring my eligibility for the upcoming WNBA draft in May 20.
Welcome them anytime, even against my team. That statement makes the debate particularly unusual because no publicly known transgender woman has ever played in the WNBA. Under the league's 2026 collective bargaining agreement, signed in March, eligibility is limited to players who are women.
I think just in terms of how I'm seeing it is, if I could answer with, like, for me, sports is about belonging. It's about inclusivity. It's about allowing everyone to be their authentic self. I'm big on that just because I have been criticized for my height, for my ethnicity. I've been in those "you shouldn't belong here" many times, and for me, I don't want that space, especially Golden State, to ever feel like that. So I'm all about women, little girls deserving to play, and that includes trans women. So I'm all about inclusivity.
Gabby Williams says she would welcome biological males onto her team, despite playing in a league whose own collective bargaining agreement states that only women are eligible to compete.
I think it's really important to keep the fairness in our tour, and it's obvious that biologically, right, the men are way stronger than women, so I feel like it would be not really fair for the women to compete against biological men. So I believe it took them a little while to make this decision, and I support it. But for me, I'm focusing on myself, on my goals, whatever it takes. If they want to test us all, I'm happy to do that. It's pretty fair, and let's keep it that way. Thank you.
And then there's French trans player Julie Tedder, who reportedly averages nearly 20 rebounds per game in France's Women's League, almost twice the 10.8 rebounds recorded by the player in second place. She has also said she would not reject an opportunity to play in the WNBA.
Look at your screen. A French trans player says if the WNBA gives them a chance to play in the league, they would not turn down an offer.
That's essentially the player Williams is saying she would welcome. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I've never seen an organization seem so determined to undermine itself as the WNBA. It's remarkable. One fan immediately responded.
Sophie Cunningham just said what Simone Biles and Megan Rapinoe have refused to say. In an interview with ESPN, Cunningham blatantly said that she does not want biological men in women and girls sports. What Cunningham said is just common sense. But obviously, in female sports, this is considered incredibly courageous, because while Riley Gaines has fought tooth and nail along with other women and girls to keep their sports female, Serena Williams, Aja Wilson, Paige Beckers, Katie Ledecky, Coco Gauff, you name it, have been silent, or they've actually supported men and women's sports. So in a sports world full of Megan Rapinoes, be a Sophie Cunningham. And let's hope that Sophie Cunningham is an encouragement and an inspiration to Caitlin Clark to use her platform to keep women's sports female.
Then there's the Brittney Griner moment that left everyone unsure how to interpret it. Before the Fever-Sun matchup at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, cameras caught Griner copying Cunningham's now famous pointing gesture. The same gesture that went viral after the Dewana Bonner incident was later recreated by UFC star Max Holloway and eventually became a worldwide reaction meme. Griner repeated Cunningham's signature point while laughing and joking with her.
Cheryl Reeves, the coach, wearing a shirt that says trans kids belong. They say that Sophie has aligned herself politically conservative because she has stood by the slogan of protect women's sports. That's it, nothing more, nothing less. If protect women's sports is deemed political like they say, then so is trans kids belong. The league often says they have a problem with people like Sophie bringing politics into sports. The league doesn't have a problem with politics in sports. They have a problem with conservative politics in sports.
Because here's the reality the media narrative surrounding this trans debate refuses to recognize. Cunningham and Griner were former Phoenix Mercury teammates. They know each other and share a history. They can disagree on a political issue and still laugh together over a viral meme. That isn't hypocrisy, it's simply how people who actually know each other can behave. Yet those trying to turn this into a morality play are often the same voices that spent 2 years claiming Caitlin Clark's success was about white privilege. They aren't looking for nuance, they're looking for a narrative. And Griner recreating Cunningham's meme on the sideline shattered that narrative in real time. Through all of it, the arena protests, the White House statement,
something the president feels strongly about as well, and the American people do too, that men should not be playing in women's sports. It's completely ludicrous that anyone could support that. It's even more ludicrous that you do have Sophie Cunningham, a female athlete herself, very accomplished in her own right, coming forth and speaking that truth that men shouldn't play in women's sports. We want to protect women and girls, and the backlash she is receiving from Democrats and left-wing figures across the country is astonishing. They are clearly very out of touch with the American public on this issue, which again is an 80-20 issue. It's common sense. It's rooted in basic biological fact that men should not be competing against women on playing fields across the country.
The Gabby Williams statement, Griner's meme, the ESPN profiles, and even the Lynx coach wearing a Trans Kids Belong shirt as a direct response to Cunningham all added to the controversy. Caitlin Clark, however, gave the most measured response. I think it's for leagues and governing bodies to work with their athletes to find solutions. Our focus is on basketball. That's what we talk about and how we can get wins. Leagues and governing bodies, solutions, basketball. In one sentence, Clark avoided every political trap the WNBA's progressive faction had placed around her teammates' controversy.
Said, I do think that there is a thing called pretty privilege. There is a thing called white privilege. There is a thing called tall privilege. And we have to acknowledge that. And so the part of it is about race, because if you think about the Brittney Griners of the world, you know, why did she have to go to play in Russia?
Because they wouldn't pay her.
Because they wouldn't pay her.
Because they wouldn't pay. Not pushing.
You know, but I'm rooting for Caitlin because I've been in that seat before. I've walked that road before. I hope she kills. I hope Aaliyah Boston does amazing. And we have grown-ass men and women out here doing whatever they can to try to make sure that does not happen. That is the weirdest thing in the world, but it is what it is, and I'm glad that Caitlin has a great head on her.
She didn't endorse Cunningham's position, but she didn't criticize it either. Instead, she redirected the discussion toward the leagues and governing bodies responsible for setting policy, keeping it away from the basketball court, where she has records to chase and games to win.
I think for us, it's not really a discussion we really have in our locker room. I think it's for leagues and the governing bodies to work with their athletes to find solutions, but our focus is on basketball, and that's what we talk about and how we can get wins, and obviously we didn't do that tonight, so need to find an area to improve in that way.
Do you have any, reaction to the...
I just answered for you.
That's Caitlin Clark, the player Asmongold's audience discovered when they started following the league, the star who can put up 45 points and 10 assists, then simply tells everyone to keep their attention on basketball when the circus unfolds outside the arena.
Think that you need to press this twice as hard. This person is preferencing an ideological dogma over an observable reality. That's scary. You don't want cultists running your life.
While Gabby Williams says she would welcome biological males onto her team despite the WNBA's CBA limiting eligibility to women, Clark is keeping her attention on wins and losses. The league has Caitlin Clark making history week after week, Kelsey Mitchell putting together a remarkable scoring run, and Sophie Cunningham speaking openly about an issue many women's sports fans care about without backing down.
It just said, I got a lot of feedback, negative feedback about me hating trans. She didn't say she hates trans. She said, I am here to extend love, but I also think that love is truth and being honest. And I want to protect young girls in a locker room or young girls in sport who shouldn't have to go against biological men. Again, this is where about 80% of the country is?
And Martina Navratilova is and has been for a long time.
Right.
A prominent athlete and lesbian.
And now Gabby Williams has voluntarily stepped into a controversy that didn't involve her, making a statement that appears to conflict with the league's own CBA. The WNBA can't afford to keep undermining its own biggest story. Asmongold's audience discovered the league through Clark and stayed for the drama. But there's a difference between controversy that grows the league and controversy that damages it. With Clark breaking scoring records, turning the spotlight toward biological males in women's professional basketball could become the kind of controversy that pushes fans away. Will the WNBA's progressive faction undermine what Caitlin Clark helped build before the playoffs even begin? And is Sophie Cunningham the only player willing to openly say what many women's sports fans already think? Drop your thoughts in the comments.